Two men. Two philosophies. Two choices. One decision. You decide.
We hope you enjoy this particular debate. This will be debate number 9 of our series. This is me against Dr. Karen Bartelt. In the early 90s, I was on a radio program in Morton, Illinois, kind of a talk show type thing, and Karen Bartelt called in and was saying how that creation was not true and evolution was true. And then later that week, or shortly thereafter, I did a debate against a preacher who had become an atheist, a Church of Christ preacher who gave up on Christianity. And that was a very fascinating debate, and Karen Bartelt was there. And she wrote in quite a lengthy letter to the editor, which is currently on the website. If you look up Bartelt or Hovind, you'll find her letter on there, complaining about my poor visuals being of poor quality and things like that, and saying how that evolution is a fact. And so I was very happy when she agreed to debate me publicly. Most of her debate, as we did this one in Peoria, Illinois, at a Unitarian church, most of her objections seemed to be personal. She was objecting to me personally, to my degree, to my credentials, et cetera, as opposed to dealing with the subject matter. But we think you really enjoy this one. This is going to be the only debate that we've ever done that I'm going to stop from time to time and put in my comments, edit things into this debate. And anyone is certainly welcome to schedule. I'd be glad to come debate against any 2 or 3 or 4 professors at a time, as long as each side gets equal time. There is absolutely no evidence whatsoever for the general theory of evolution. It is a religion. It is something people choose to believe in spite of the lack of evidence. And I'd sure like to challenge you to rethink what you believe. We hope you enjoy this one. Thank you.
Many people have asked me why I decided to appear with Kent Hovind, and a few discouraged me from doing this. My reason for being here is solely that I believe Hovind is a proliferator of scientific illiteracy, and I want to do what I can to make the public aware of the fallacies of his arguments. Hovind might say that evolution is a religion. Well, he's entitled to his opinion, but it's clearly been stated in the 1994 Pelosi decision that evolution defines a biological concept, and Pelosi's complaint was rejected because the Supreme Court has held unequivocally that while belief in a divine creator of the universe is a religious belief, the scientific theory that higher forms of life have evolved from lower forms is not. So, definition's fine, but the courts aren't buying it. Well, he might then go on about evolution being only a theory. I'm sure sick and tired of hearing that one. You're darn right it's a theory. And here are some other things, natural phenomena, that are also only theories. The sphericity of the Earth, gravity, atomic theory, electric theory. They're all very good theories. Now, what is a theory? A good theory is a hypothesis which has been subjected to many tests. They are never proven absolutely true. They're based upon long-term observation and correlation. They're not believed, but accepted provisionally. They're strengthened as data from different disciplines are explained, and they make predictions that can be tested. And the evidence showing that evolution has occurred is stronger than that which shows that the planets go around the sun, because it comes from a wider variety of areas.
What Dr. Bartelt is doing here is what's called bait and switch in advertising. She's giving one definition of evolution and saying it's just, the theory of evolution is just like gravity and things like that. What they mean by that definition of evolution is microevolution, minor changes. But what they do is they sneak in, once people accept that definition, they sneak in all sorts of other things that have to do with macroevolution. So watch for the bait and switch tactic, which is, of course, illegal to do in advertising. You can't advertise a new Lincoln for $10,000, and when you show up to buy it, you find out it's a skateboard or a Toyota. that's illegal. But by not giving the other real definition of evolution, they do this. She mentions her purpose is to fight against my scientific illiteracy. That is precisely my purpose in life, is to fight against the illiteracy scientifically in the theory of evolution. It is bankrupt. There is no evidence to support it at all. So watch for this.
One of the frequently asked questions at Hovind's website is, how would you answer critics like Madsen, Babinski, and Bartelt who have written bad things about you? Bad things, Kent? Well, Dave Madsen has written this point-by-point refutation of Hovind's young Earth arguments. This is available, you can download this from the web. Ed Babinski has written this smaller pamphlet detailing some evangelical Christians who think that the Earth is old. And this is available from Mr. Babinski.
Karen, these comments that these fellows have made, Babinski and Madsen, I have read very carefully, and I certainly appreciate anyone who criticizes my ministry. Critics can be your best friend. They can show you things that you're saying that are wrong, and I have definitely made some changes because of their comments. But if there's any particular individual one you'd like me to comment on, I'd certainly be glad to, on the books that these guys have written about me. The answers that they give to my questions and the criticism they give is absolutely silly, and I felt was not even worth an answer. I'd certainly be glad to debate them or anybody else publicly, and I'd be glad to come debate at any university or college that you know of. I think anyone who reads their answers or reads their comments with an open mind, if they have any questions about it, please call me. I'll be glad to answer anything they have written. I just didn't feel like it was worth wasting time to answer that big book. Like Nehemiah, in the book of Nehemiah, he was asked to come down and stop his great work while they discussed some things with him. His enemies asked him to do that. He said, I'm doing a great work. I cannot come down. So I haven't taken time to answer all their critics, but I certainly would be willing to if you'd like to call on the phone, but I will not respond in writing because it simply takes too long. Thank you.
My lone contributions were a letter to the Peoria Journal-Star in 1993 disputing some of Hovind's assertions, and a few calls to the media after I found out that Hovind had misrepresented himself by saying he had scheduled a debate with Stephen Jay Gould.
Karen, the church that was having me speak in Boston did indeed contact Stephen Gould, or told me that they had, and told me that they had a debate scheduled for Stephen Gould. I did not misrepresent myself. I honestly thought there was one coming to pass, and I'm still willing to debate Stephen Jay Gould. So that was not a misrepresentation. Please don't say things like that.
Why do we say these bad things? Because Hovind's website and seminar notebook are monuments to scientific illiteracy. They contain incorrect information, outdated information, and misrepresentations of scientific principles, all of them straw men. Hovind calls his mistakes gnats, and let's see what you think. The geologic column is a concept fundamental to geology and is one of those big pieces of evidence that supports biological evolution. These sedimentary layers are laid down such that the lowest layer is normally the oldest and contains the least complex life forms. As one goes to higher and higher layers, we see the emergence of more complex life forms. Accusations concerning the geologic column abound in Hovind's publications. He asserts that the geologic column does not exist in the world anywhere except in textbooks, and that it was made up by evolutionists to discredit the Bible. What is the reality? Well, first of all, a complete geologic column exists in North Dakota and at least 26 other A complete geologic column exists in North Dakota and at least 26 other basins of the world. Was it devised by evolutionists?